Hello, everyone, and welcome to your early morning stretch and release. My name is Adrian, and today we're going to be doing a lot of hip openers, groin work. Good morning for those who just jumped in. We're doing a lot of hip openers, groin work, glute work, all that good stuff. So let's get started. No music today. We're just going to really focus on opening up. So we're going to start off nice and easy with a little bit of a warm-up. Just bring your knees into your chest. Go over some nice circles. You can put your hands on your knees. Just working through. Think slow, deep breaths. And now the other way. All right, now that our hips are a little warm, we're just going to do a little bit of bicycling, just very light, just really wake up our hip flexors and our quads. So here, hands outstretched, taking a nice full body stretch. Then from here, just gentle knees work into our chest. Maybe 6 more, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, perfect. From here, we're going to flip over. We're just going to go into just on all fours. Do a little bit of what's called cat-cow, just warming up our spine. Again, we're getting everything just mobilized. Stretching through. Good morning as well. Those who just joined us, we're just warming up before we do some stretches. So press your stomach into the floor and drop in your belly, pull your spine, and imagine bringing your belly button to the ceiling like it's being pulled on a string, and press your stomach into the floor as much as you can. Maybe 2 more. 2, and 1 more. And reach, and 1. Excellent. From here, we're gonna start off with a bunch of seated stretches. We'll do groin, hamstring, and a couple more. And we'll kind of branch out from there. Of course, when you request, feel free to put them in the chat. So 1 leg out, 1 leg in, reaching forward. Going for a nice, easy hamstring stretch first. And of course, it's entirely up to you if you want to have your cameras on. It helps with the energy in the room. But if not, that's fine too. Just make sure you're following along the stretch with the best form that you can. If you have any requests for any particular body part to stretch, feel free to put it in the chat. Any and all interaction helps. That's not just for this class, for any class. And 3, 2, 1. Switching sides. About 30 seconds here, just going for that nice, gentle hamstring stretch right at the start. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now going for a groin stretch, so feet together. Let's move this a little bit. Pulling in the best we can. Here, try to avoid hunching forward. Try to see if you can keep your shoulders low and lean forward with a little bit of a tall spine. Just try not to like hunch your shoulders, just to get extra torso movement. The goal is to bend more at the hips as much as you can to feel a nice stretch in the groin. I see that there's a request there, so I'll get to it in just a moment. About 30 more seconds for this stretch. Really sinking in. Think slow, deep breaths the whole time. And 3, 2, 1. To quickly check for the feedback. Also, thank you so much for those who just came on camera. Feet and neck, please, not a problem. We'll for sure do those. Closer to the end though. So here we're to lie face up. We're gonna work on our low back and our glute med. So here, lying face up, one knee up in the air. We're gonna grab it with the opposite arm, gently pull across the body. The other arm is outstretched. So for me, my right leg is up, my left hand is pulling my right leg over, and my right arm is extended out. My goal here is to feel a nice stretch in the glute med and in the low back. And 5, 4, 3, 2. And gently bring the other leg down. We're going to switch sides. We're going to do a bunch of glute specific work, so we don't have to spend too long here. So other arm, so my left leg is up, my right arm grabs it over. My left arm is extended out. Maybe here for about 25 more seconds. And you want to be feeling it in the glute med, maybe a little bit in the low back. And 3, 2, 1, easing off. Excellent. I'm going to go a little closer to the camera. So the next 3, we're going to do a little bit of a series. We're going to go for our hip flexors and hamstring, then glute. What that looks like is we're going to go into a lunge position. From here, we're going to lunge forward a bit. Whichever leg is in front, I want you to rotate that knee a little bit towards the outside. So my lunge is neutral. I push it out a little bit. From here, I tuck in my tailbone, I squeeze in my stomach, I squeeze my glutes, I push everything forward, and I should be feeling a stretch in the back leg, and a thigh, and a little bit in the hip flexor. Excellent. Flip on camera. Form looks excellent. Really good job. Really pushing through. For me, I'm keeping my hands on my hips, but you can keep your hands anywhere on your thigh, just hanging loose. Doesn't matter, as long as you're not pressing into your knee. That's all that really counts. You just don't want extra pressure. So about 10 more seconds here. If you're not quite feeling it, try tucking your stomach a little more. Try squeezing into that glute a little more if you're not quite feeling it on the back leg. And 3, 2, 1. Now shifting your hips back, taking the front foot and putting it on its heel. Then putting your toes towards you and leaning forward so you get a nice stretch in the hamstring. Very key. Excellent work. Pose on camera. Again, feel free to keep your hands wherever you like. If you're putting them on top of your thigh, that's fine. Just avoid pressing into your leg and putting extra pressure on your knee. Your hands can definitely rest there, that's fine. Just avoid pressing firmly, just to take it easy on the knee. That's all. About 15 more seconds here. We're gonna go for a nice stretch along the hamstring. Excellent. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. From here, taking that same leg, placing it parallel to the edge of the mat if you can. If not, a slightly bent is fine too. We're going for a pigeon pose / glute stretch. So here, place your shin on the mat. Try to take your back leg and shift it as much as you can. And drop your torso and hips down. Now, if you find your back knees having a hard time with this, I actually learned this from Kay, our yoga instructor. You can actually curl your toe in and then extend it out just to save the knee a little bit. If the knee is giving you trouble, if not, you can just let it lay flat. So here we're going for that glute stretch, really sinking in. About 20 more seconds. And 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, 1, and up. Whew. All right, now we're going to do the same 3, but with the opposite leg. So other leg extended forward, going to that lunge position. From here, my goal is to squeeze my stomach, so I'm tucking my tailbone in. I'm squeezing my glutes. I'm going to push forward, and I want to feel it in the top of the hip flexor, front of the thigh, in my back leg. Also helps to take your front knee and rotate it open a little bit. So about 30 seconds here. and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now front leg extended, shoulders back, leaning forward for a nice big hamstring stretch. Here, try to point your toes towards your face or just towards you, leaning forward. So free to put your hands wherever you like. Just avoid pressing into your knee. Avoid adding extra pressure. That's all. You can keep your hands wherever you like. About 20 more seconds. Go for a nice deep hamstring stretch. About 10 seconds to go. All right, easing off. Now we're going to go for that half pigeon or that glute stretch. So here, leg parallel, or sorry, shin parallel to the edge of the mat if you can. Then taking your back leg, shifting it. So you feel a nice stretch in your glutes. For me, I can drop down to my elbows. If you need to stay up here on your wrist, that's fine too. But go as low as you're comfortable. Sure to go for a nice glute stretch. We're going to be here for at least 30, 35 seconds. Think slow, deep breaths the whole time. And of course, if you have any requests, feel free to put them in the chat. I already have one. I'll get to it closer to the end. But if you have any other requests, definitely let me know. More than happy to adjust. And 10 seconds left. 10, 9, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. From here, we're going to do a little bit of a side / QL stretch. So either sit cross-legged, and that's great. If you want to take it up a notch, you can also sit half lotus or full lotus. I'm just going to do half because that's all I can do. So from here, I'm going to sit in half lotus. If you're sitting in cross-legged, it's whichever leg is closest. If you're sitting in half lotus, it's whichever leg is lower. So from here, my left leg is lower. I'm going to sit up as tall as I can. I'm going to use my opposite hand to plant for stability. Then I'm going to reach my same hand and lift up and away. So just to clarify, my left leg is closest to the floor. My right leg is pushing my left leg down. My left arm is going to reach up first and then over. And my goal here is to feel a nice stretch from my rib down to my hip. Now, if you're not quite feeling it, feel free to let me know in the chat what's going on. But the goal here is to imagine pulling my rib away from my hip, feeling a nice stretch along here. And so for me, to prevent myself from leaning over like this, my other leg is pressing this hip down to the floor. So I'm actively both pushing my left hip down to the floor and lifting my right rib and arm away. So about 15 more seconds. This is stretching our QL and a little bit of our obliques, or a lot, depending on how tight you are. We're going for QL / obliques. 7 more seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, I'm going to switch. Again, if you can't do half lotus, totally fine. You can just sit cross-legged. So for me now, my right hip is towards the floor. My right arm is going to reach up first and then away. So planting with my left side, reaching up and over. Trying to go for a nice stretch on my right side. And again, it should feel like I'm pulling my rib away from my hip. With 25 more seconds here. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing off here, we're going to go for a little bit of a spine stretch. By spine, I mean low back. We're going to cross one leg, go over the other. We're going to hug that knee in. So for me, my left leg is going to go over my right. I'm going to hug my left knee in. And from here, once I've hugged it, I'm actually going to turn away as much as I can. So this is easy for you. You can also advance it a little bit by taking your other arm and actively turning away from that knee. So it's slightly easier, just take that knee, hug it in, and turn through your upper body. Or if you're able to, you can actually thread your arm through and turn even more. Entirely up to you how intense you make it. You can hug the knee into your chest, use your arm to push yourself even further. About 12 more seconds, 12. And 5, 4, 3, 2. And switching sides. So other leg. So here, again, you can hug that knee into your chest and just turn through your upper body. Totally fine. If you want, you can also put that arm through and really rotate an additional couple degrees. Just trying to mobilize to that low back, maybe even a little bit in your upper torso. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Second last groin stretch. We're actually going to stand for this one. Put our feet out nice and wide. And our goal is just to hang loose through our elbows. So put your feet out as wide as possible, as wide as you're comfortable. And then feel free to kind of hang towards the floor. Go for that second groin stretch. We're trying to sink in as much as we can. And after this, we're actually going to use the wall for a few stretches. I'm going to move the camera over. Go to 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. We're actually going to move towards the wall. So I'm going to move my camera over, but you don't have to move yours. It's going to take us for a journey. Okay, so perfect. I'm going to just adjust that a little bit here. Excellent. Okay, so maybe you can see me. All right, we're going to use a wall or a corner, whatever we can muster. And we're going to put one leg up on a wall if we can. Other leg is going to lift up and down. We're going for a deep hamstring release like this. Now, if you don't have a wall or a corner, you can do it flat. That's fine. You can just try to hold your leg up against the wall. We're just going to anchor it. And you can just slowly lift up and down. That's fine. A wall is nice because it lets you relax your leg as much as possible. But if you want, you can also use a yoga strap or a towel. You can lift up and down. So whatever you can manage, or you just use your own arms to hold your leg up. I'm going to use the wall. So we're going to do some extra hamstring releasing. Here, try to align your tailbone with the wall or corner. And here, we're going to slowly lift up and down. The goal here is to actually point both toes towards you and slowly allow the other leg to come up and down. And as the leg lowers, you're going to feel a deepening of a stretch in the hamstring on the top leg. So whatever you can muster, you can use a door frame, a corner, whatever works for you. We're going to be here for maybe 20 more seconds. And our goal is to move as fast or slow as we like. But as we lower this leg, we should feel a stretch in the hamstring on the opposite side. Again, if you don't have a wall or a corner, totally fine. You can just use your own hands to hold that leg up, or a yoga strap or towel, or yeah, just your arms. That's all. Whatever you can manage. About 10 more seconds, go with that nice deep stretch in the hamstring. And 3, 2, and 1, other side. So I think I gotta rotate a little bit this way. But same thing, it goes to lower up and down through that leg as much as we can. Actually rotate a little bit more this way. Again, I'm trying to keep my tailbone in line with the wall as I slowly lower my other leg. Now you may find one leg is a lot worse than the other. It's pretty normal. You can go with feeling. About 15 more seconds here. And 10, 9. And 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Now we're going to use the wall for our final groin stretch. Just going to move it a little bit more over. Oops, there we go. Okay, so lying face up. We're now put our tailbone right against the wall. I'm going to put this on my head so I don't have to put it on the floor. All right. And here, this is a little funky, but do your best. We're going to put our legs against the wall. This is a nice passive groin stretch. Make sure you just don't mark up your wall. But here, legs out. Going for a nice, easy groin stretch. Can you see me? Yep, you can. Okay. That's it. Just trying to relax. Here, avoid bending the knees. Try to keep your knees mostly straight. Again, if you want to make it a more of a stretch, a little bit in the hamstring as well, point the toes towards your face. Avoid pointing them. Try to actually point your toes towards you. And if you want to kind of inch out every couple seconds or whatever you're able to muster, that's fine too. So I'm going to keep in mind is try to keep your tailbone from curling. Your tailbone is going to want to curl, or your abs are going to want to curl. Try to do the opposite. Try to see if you can almost extend your bum towards the floor, or try to scoop your tailbone back. So instead of cupping in forwards, try to actually flatten your low back and press your tailbone into the floor to get a bit of a deeper stretch. We're going to be here for maybe 30, 35 more seconds. This is a nice passive groin stretch you can do anytime. If you find you have a tight groin, you can like grab a magazine, scroll on your phone. You can hang in here for like 2 minutes or longer and just passively let your groin open up if you find you have a tight groin. So yeah, you can read an article, listen to some nice music, a podcast, whatever works for you. Let's go for 15 more seconds, and then we'll do one last stretch against the wall. But the wall is a great tool. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly easing off, gently bend the knees, bring your legs together. Whew, good stuff. From here, we're going to go for our second glute stretch. Similar to the figure 4, we're going to plant one foot on the wall. We're going to place one ankle on one knee like this. Hopefully you can see me. Yep, you can. And here, I want you to actually lower your hips towards the ground and let the wall let the wall sit as an anchor point as you try to push your tailbone to the ground. Now, you may need to adjust. You may need to shimmy a little closer or push yourself back even further. But the goal here is to feel a deep stretch using your own body weight and gravity to press your tailbone into the ground and feel a nice stretch on this glute. And similar to the groin one we just did, this is a nice passive stretch. You can kind of just hang here for a bit, as long as it's not adding pressure on your knee. And you're kind of letting gravity do the work for you when it comes to this stretch. Let's go for 15 more seconds. And 10, 9, and 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Switching sides. So here, other foot planted, other ankle, shifting your hips towards the ground. You might find that one side is way easier than the other, and that's normal. Very few people are perfectly balanced. Almost no one is. So try to work with what you got. Shift your hips towards the floor. Going for a nice stretch in the glutes. About 30 or so seconds left. Maybe a little more. Really trying to sink into that glute. Excellent. Another 15 seconds left. And 3, 2, and 1. Whew, all right. That was a lot A lot of hip and groin openers. Let's do some upper body stretching before we move on to just a little bit of rolling. So here, I'm actually going to adjust us back to original camera angle. Grab a drink of water if you need it. Walk us over. Excellent. Okay, right, back to our regular programming. We're going to stand for this one. We're going to stretch our bicep. Funny muscle doesn't get stretched often. We're going to plant one hand against the wall. We can stick to where we were with the wall before, or move. Here, palm against the wall, fingertips towards the sky. We're going to turn our body as much as we can. Then we're going to lunge down and feel a nice stretch across the shoulder and across the bicep. You're going to feel a nice stretch over here. So fingertips towards the sky, trying to stretch down, get a nice stretch in the shoulder and bicep. Just kind of sink in here for a bit. After this, we'll do some forearm stretches, and we'll do a little bit of rolling that was requested. And 3, 2, 1, switching sides. So again, fingertips towards the sky, drop our shoulder, turn away as much as we can, then turn a lunge down, go for a nice stretch in the bicep and in the front shoulder. Three, two, 1, shake it off. All right, next we do some forearm stretches. These are a little funny. There's 2 versions you can do. You can go a little more softer, or you can be a little more aggressive. I'll show you both. So for the softer version, clap your hands together like a prayer, elbows in, and then drop your wrists down. You should feel a nice gentle stretch across the back of the forearms. So my wrists are traveling down, my elbows are traveling up. I'm trying to go for a nice easy stretch. If this is too easy, or if you find you need something a little more intense, you can also use the mat. So the way I do this is I'm kneeling, my fingertips are gonna actually face my knees. I'm gonna put my wrist to the floor, and I'm gonna lean back and go for a deep forearm stretch. I'm gonna show you from the side. Again, only go for this one if you feel confident and you don't have any wrist issues. So fingertips towards my knees, palms down, and I'm gonna lean back and go for a deep forearm stretch. Now, if this is a too aggressive angle, you can change the angle. You can turn them out a little bit. So instead of directly down, you can turn them out. Whatever works for you. So for a nice forearm stretch, again, with these, you can go for the gentle version, which is kind of the prayer position, or you can go for the slightly more aggressive version, which is using your body weight and hips to lean back. But of course, you have wrist issues. Don't attempt this one. Take it a little easier. About 10 seconds left, going for that nice deep forearm stretch. And 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly easing off. Ooh, shake off those wrists. Now we're gonna do the opposite. Now we're gonna go for the top of the forearm. So here, similar to the prayer position, we're gonna flip. Now back of our wrists so the back of our palms are together. Now we're gonna try to drop our elbows and bring our wrists up. Like a nice stretch in here, like this. Or if you want to make it a little more intense, you can do one arm at a time and just simply extend the arm out, bring your wrist down, grab on top, and pull kind of from the top of your palm. You can pull that down and feel a bit of a deeper stretch right along here. So you're doing both, do both for the next 40 seconds. If you're doing one at a time like me, I'll tell you to switch in about 15 seconds. So whatever variation you do is fine, one at a time or both. One at a time lets you focus a little more aggressively. But of course, if you have wrist issues, consider the gentler version. And 3, 2, 1, shake it off, other side. Again, my arm is extended. I'm grabbing the top of my palm, or sorry, the back of my palm. I'm pulling that down as I extend my arm forward. So I'm extending my arm forward and pulling down at the same time. Trying to feel a nice stretch across the top of my forearm. If you do a lot of typing, this is nice just to help release the forearms. About 10 seconds left. and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one here, we're gonna stretch a little bit of our radius area. If you're not sure what that means, that's okay. Here, we're gonna give ourselves a little bit of a handshake. And then from here, I'm actually gonna try to, imagine I'm gonna, like giving you like presenting my thumb. I'm actually gonna go for that motion. And I'm gonna gently pull from the top of my arm down. I'll show you from the side. So here, almost like a handshake. I'm gonna grab my own hand. And I'm gonna gently pull my thumb down. And I'm gonna feel a nice stretch across the side of my forearm, a little bit into what's called a brachioradialis. If you're not quite feeling it, that's okay. Feel free to just kind of loosen up, just go some gentle motions back and forth, whatever works for you. You should be feeling it in your brachioradialis. If you don't, or if that doesn't make any sense, don't worry about it. Just do your best just to almost like give yourself a handshake and gently pull that wrist down, feeling a nice stretch across the side of the wrist. These are useful for things like carpal tunnel. These won't fix it, but these are just nice just to help release. And 3, 2, 1, other side. So again, almost like a handshake motion, grabbing the other arm, grabbing it on top of those fingers, and trying to push that thumb and that whole wrist structure from the side down. So again, it's this motion. But from the front, it's just neutral like that. Good. 10 seconds. Then we'll do some easy foot and neck rolling. And we'll call it a day. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shake off those wrists. Yeah, if you do a lot of typing in your work, that's good just to help release kind of the forearm muscles, keep everything loose. We're going to take a ball if we have it. I'm going to roll our feet. Oops. That's all we do here. Big toe. This was a request, so we're just going to quickly go through these. So big toe, working right along the arch as best we can. If you don't have a ball, you can use a peanut, that's fine, tennis ball. You can also technically use a roller. Just roll your foot on the top of the roller, whatever works for you. We'll be here for about 15 more seconds. Being slow, releasing right along the arch. And just exactly working that foot as best we can. From here, we're going to move to the middle. So again, middle of the foot, same thing, just rolling right along. If you want to spend some extra time here, it's totally fine. We're going to do each one for about 30 seconds. So you got about 20 seconds left here. You're going to switch feet. Just massaging right along the center of our foot. You use a tennis ball, hockey ball, lacrosse ball. If you're feeling particularly brave, a golf ball. Those would be quite difficult. Whatever you got lying around. Yeah, golf ball I think is the worst, both in its size and density. Effective, but pretty brutal. All right, and 3, 2, 1. Easing off, other foot. So here, working on the arch first. But of course, these are all just suggestions. If you want to work on the arch the whole time, for example, you're more than welcome to. Again, these are all just suggestions. Just working right along the arch, trying to massage through any kind of tightness in our feet. If you're doing a lot of walking, if you've been doing the 10,000 steps in the Move in A challenge, for those who are both doing the classes and the challenge, it's good to release the feet, especially if you're doing a lot of walking. And 5, 4, 3. So now the middle of the foot. So switch to the middle of the foot and roll back and forth. About 30 or so, 35 seconds here. It's really working through. 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. We're going to do some neck stretches. So here, last movements for today. We're going to do side, and then the front of our neck. So here, one arm behind our back. My left arm is behind my back. My head's tilting towards the right. Trying to drop my left shoulder, tilt my head over, feel a nice stretch from the side of my neck all the way down to the top of my shoulder. Trying to lean away. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other side. So now my right hand is going towards my left. My head's going towards my left as well. In about 25, 30 seconds here. It's also good if you're doing some desk work. It's good just to help release the neck in general. Just open up your posture. Good. 10 seconds left. 10, 9, 3, 2, 1. Last one here. Both hands behind our back and just now pointing our chin to the sky. Trying to pull back their shoulders, tilt their chin up. And from here, if you want to make some funny jaw motions, I do. It helps me get a deeper stretch. You don't have to, but I do. Where you kind of just put your jaw up and if you have to make some like chewing or like motions, that's fine too. Should feel a nice stretch across the front of your neck. About 15 seconds here. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, release. Excellent work, everyone. Really good job. Thank you for those who came on camera. I really appreciate it. It definitely makes the class have more energy, so thank you. And for those watching this later on YouTube, thank you so much as well. That also helps with